Alright, so here we are, guys. It's FNews57 here. I'm back on Neverwinter on the Xbox One, and this is a little bit of an impromptu thing. Bonus stream, bonus video. It will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards, so for anybody who missed the stream, you can watch it there. And the whole point of this is going to be, well, you heard the devs. We're discussing today's State of the Game stream by the Cryptic slash Perfect World team. I seen a lot of questions and a lot of stuff there that I didn't like, and I didn't like how it went. So, well, here we are. Here's your chance to say your piece. I'll give you my opinion, my information, what I have, and then, like I said, it'll get uploaded to YouTube. And you heard them about how much they like the videos being uploaded to YouTube. So I'll give people a chance to go ahead and get into stream. You'll notice I had to quickly make a new overlay, which, yes, I'm not the best at that, so this is going to be a relatively basic one. And pretty much all we have going on here is the chat in stream displayed on the overlay and my alert box. All the other frivolous stuff is gone. It's not going to be in there for the purposes of this stream. Also, I'll only be on for maybe an hour. That's about it. 1 hour is all I can afford to do right now. So, to just go ahead and launch literally right into it, we had I arranged my work schedule and everything to be able to make it to this State of the Game stream. And I know there's a lot that has to be done and everything. It's not easy, but at the same time, it is Perfect World's job to make the game and everything like that. So, I was disappointed by what I seen. It was mostly a state of the game, what's new, what they did last year, and then only 15 minutes spent on actually questions, which was, in my opinion, inadequate. So, first off, I want to welcome back everybody. There's some familiar names here. Evil Bunny, Devil Dog, King Wizard, Strange, Pokemaster, Blood, Kizex, Illiterate Hulk, J. Trevor, Draconis Lupus, everybody. Thank you guys for stopping in. I do appreciate that. Oh, J29, no problem, dude. I understand that exactly. It was a bit of a letdown. Kitty, welcome. Biden, Cynic, what's up, guys? So I'm just going to be doing a couple generic things while I go over what my opinions of the stream were, and you can ask your questions, hopefully. If I can't answer them, maybe eventually we will get Perfect World to answer them. So the first thing that they covered was basically what happened last year. They released, the Cloak Descendancy, which is part of our lovely River District. The Jungles of Cholt campaign, basically just covering the stuff that we already know and most of the players did not like. It was pretty much a glass half full, let's only talk about the shiny part. That was it. Rather disappointing, nothing addressed as to the fact that random queue is broken as hell. Nothing addressed to the fact that, well, nobody wants to do their Cholt dailies. Nobody wants to do their River District dailies. The comment was specifically made that the Cholt tasks, which I will show for anybody who doesn't know, oh, well, we want there to be a little bit of difference so that, it's not you're doing the same thing all the time. Okay, so please explain to me how the exact same 4 daily quests, the exact same weekly quests, and the exact same treasure map, hunt, patrols, whatever you want to classify them are, is supposed to be any different than the exact same dailies that we have. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. At the start of the patrol, instead of there being lions, there might be bears. Like, come on, guys. You can do better than that. Unfortunately, basically everything was just grazed over. They focused mostly on the Foundry and Stronghold Siege. Well, first of all, Xbox and PlayStation don't even have the Foundry. We haven't had the Foundry. PC had the Foundry. The Foundry was removed, and then it was brought back just Friday, I believe. So, what's going on? Why do we need to spend so much time on the Foundry? I've got news for you. Nobody cares. Fix the game first. You have literal game-breaking bugs and are moving in a direction that you can clearly see players do not like. However, you're just continuing with a fashion bag as one of the things that was mentioned which could be added to the game. I'm sorry, fashion is all well and good, but when you have to do hundreds and hundreds of runs of Tomb of the Nine Gods, which is already a problem due to the difficulty and the bugs in the dungeon would be perfectly fine if it wasn't for the number of glitches that were in there. No, we completely skipped over that part. It's just ridiculous. I know they spent 15 minutes on questions. That was right at the end, though. I seen a few questions answered, mostly the kind of fluff questions. One of my questions was answered, but it was basically brushed off, and that was about cross-platform compatibility, which, yeah, I highly doubt we'll ever see cross-platform compatibility, but there could be a way, since you do have to link your ARC account as far as Xbox or PlayStation players, at least you're given that option to link your ARC account. There could very easily be a way that you could transfer a character, or at least a character's profile, through your ARC account. Even if they made that only a one-time thing, that would be something that I would really like to see. Hey, Staples, welcome back, man. Pokemaster, they did not mention how they wanted to change Moonstone, just merely that Moonstone is, well, what happens in Moonstone stays in Moonstone, and basically it's a social area. That's literally all Moonstone Mask is a social area. A completely 100% useless social area. Okay, maybe not 100% useless, just 90% useless, because the only thing that really needs to be taken care of is what is actually wrong in-game. But they brushed over that. The question about when we would see a Cholt campaign buyout token, or when we would see the campaign patronage token for Cholt, was completely skipped over as well. Now, I know they can't answer all the questions, which is why I'm doing my own State of the Game stream, and that's why I have the Twitch chat displayed on the overlay, so it's very easy for everyone to see any questions, comments, everything of that nature. Now, another thing that I asked and wasn't addressed, but you can actually go to the Neverwinter Unblogged post, which is not the official forums, it's the unofficial forums, basically, is that hunts. Because the question about the achievement for +5 rings, which for those of you who are unaware of it, there is an achievement for the Cholt campaign that requires you to get one of each of the +5 Slayer rings. And it's damn near impossible with the way that RNG is to get all the +5 Slayer rings, not to mention just even getting one +5 Slayer ring. They said, well, due to the way achievements are, they can't remove the achievement from the game. And that was all that was stated on that. Like I said, mentioning Neverwinter Unblogged, you can go there and you can read the post where what the devs had, quote, intended hunts to be is a social activity. Again, news for you, nobody wants to rely on random players in Cholt when you have to grind your ass off for anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes to get a rare creature to spawn, and then you all have to fight for who's going to get that totem that drops, that trinket, from the rare creature to get the best gear in the game. Come on, guys. Perfect world. Let's address the main issue. Time invested versus reward. That is the main thing that you need to look at. Master 69, as far as your comment goes, saying, I think what you're saying is that Neverwinter's dead. No, I would not say the game is dead. Do not take this the wrong way, guys. This is a game I like. This is a game I enjoy. I would not have almost 400 days of in-game time spent on this game if I did not enjoy the game. But I'm getting to a point I'm getting worried about this game. Alright, I don't agree with the direction that the developers are taking the game, and I don't agree with the manner that they are addressing the community, which is why I am doing this stream. Brutality, agreed. It was too much just minor stuff glanced over, nothing actually important discussed. One thing that was discussed, but only for a few seconds, was random queue. And basically, what was said is, well, it's not perfect. Okay? No, random queue is far, far from perfect. It was said that random queue was designed to give players more astral diamonds and to give players more ability, more choices to get astral diamonds. That's an outright lie. Complete and utter lie. First of all, random queue is making it harder on new players because you can't even queue for it till you have all the dungeons unlocked. Skirmishes, can't even queue for those until you have all the skirmishes unlocked. Utterly ridiculous. Which, little side note, by the way, skirmishes are not account unlocks. Random queue in and of its nature, which I'm going to spend a few minutes on because it does need to be discussed. It's probably one of the worst things that they've added in the history of bad updates. In its nature, random queue is not a terrible idea. Being able to queue for a select set of dungeons, not knowing which one you'll get, does break up the monotony of, quote, the some grind in this game. Okay, news for you devs. There is not some grind in this game. There is a shit ton of grind in this game. This is coming from a player who's played since Mod 5. Day 1 on the Xbox One. I know how much of a grind there is in this game. More so for certain players than others. I had to farm Demogorgon for 2 years to get a single +5 power ring that now is obsolete. Yeah, there's a lot of grind in this game. Forcing us to go into a random queue, getting a random dungeon with a random team of players, or if you put together your own team of players first, still having to go in and pick a random dungeon, not being able to solo queue it, even though your character is more than strong enough, is actually making the game less appealing. It makes it less appealing for new players just starting out or trying to get their few diamonds to go ahead and upgrade characters or buy gear. It makes it less appealing for veteran players who are simply trying to farm gear. Oh yeah, IR Staples, I would rather private queue 100%. I would rather just sit there by myself and run the dungeon. I'm more than strong enough to do it. I used to be able to do 2 cloak towers and 2 orc assault skirmishes in somewhere between 13 to 17 minutes. That was including running on alternate characters below even 9k item level, which they're working on item level scaling. Item level scaling, that's a whole separate topic, as item level can be bought and is not a true representation of player skill, just something that the devs need to keep in mind there. But no, as far as how they could make random queue better, well, let us be able to private queue it, first and foremost. It's not helping that you have to deal with random teammates, especially players who'll sit at the beginning of the dungeon or at a campfire because they're AFK, or they will sit there at a campfire because they have an injury and they need to wait to heal off the injury. Yeah, completely ridiculous. So first and foremost, private queue available for doing the random queue dungeons. Secondly, skirmishes should be account unlocks. Once you've unlocked them on one character, you can go ahead and have them unlocked across your entire account. That would actually help out with players with alternate characters, or even players with only, 1 or 2 characters, but all of them don't have the campaign's done for, say, Sharandar and Dreadring. Secondly, with that, in addition to, you need above and beyond, just completely above and beyond, remove and correctly separate your epic dungeons. For some reason, the developers thought that it would be a good idea to actually have every one of the epic dungeons outside of Tomb of the Nine Gods in the same queue list. So not only do you have to have them all unlocked and the item level to go ahead and do them before you can even queue for the epic random queue, the devs seem to think that the same team that is optimized for Shores of Torren would work perfectly fine in FBI or MSP. I'd like your opinion on that. Come on, how many people here think that a full team of 10k item levels is going to have a smooth, optimal run in Shores of Torren, and then the next queue, a smooth, optimal run in, say, Master Spellplague Caverns? Keeping in mind that you can only have one tank, one healer, and 3 DPS in random kill. No. I'm sorry. That is completely and utterly ridiculous. And that's just the random queue dungeon, which right there, that wasn't bad. 4 minutes, 58 seconds. About what it used to take me. That was with a decent team. Now let's go ahead and test our luck while I continue with the random queue skirmish. This is where things start to get problematic, because you could either have a easy skirmish, something like, Dread Legion. You could have an easy skirmish, which I got the Master of the Hunt skirmish, which is actually probably the easiest of the skirmishes. But you could also have the most annoying and hardest ones, being the Throne of the Dwarven Gods, Prophecy of Madness, and/or Illusionist Gambit. Again, something that should not be in the same queue list. It's just, random queue in and of itself is not a bad idea. If it was a option, if it was a choice, you could either random queue and do one dungeon and get, your 9,000 diamonds and your seals, or you could simply just queue up for whatever dungeon you actually wanted to do and get, for your very first run, your normal 5,000 diamonds. I would take the lesser diamonds, being able to just queue for what I want with the team that I want and move on. Now, they made the statement that, the astral diamonds per player has gone up. No, the astral diamonds per player has not really gone up. The astral diamonds per player, well, there's 2 sets of books that every company uses. The set of books for the astral diamonds in-game, or the currency in-game, the set of books for the potential currency in-game. That's including all your trade bars, all your salvageable gear, and things of that nature. Now, the issue is they are counting active accounts on one of those sets of books. Just because a player logs in even only once a day to claim their key from VIP, or once every week or so, does not mean those diamonds are in the economy. They need to take a serious look at the diamonds in the economy, the actual economy diamonds, and update that. Whether it be a double diamonds event, or, as I proposed on stream before, a double salvage event. This meaning that you wouldn't be able to prepare in advance and artificially inflate prices on the auction house. There's plenty of ways that it could be done, but that definitely needs to be addressed. Devil Dog, I haven't had an issue where an area locked because you tried to do a random queue. But that's an excellent point. Remember, everybody, Perfect World, if they so choose to actually look at the video, will be able to see all of the chat. So this only took 2 minutes and 43 seconds. That wasn't bad. That basically was a total of around 7 minutes that I spent to get the diamonds. With Invocation, around 25k. That's optimal. That's a case in point of an optimal setting. Most of the time, it's not optimal. Now, if I go into the Epic Dungeon queue list, which it says only 1 minute and 18 seconds, we'll see if that is actually the case, as DPS has a much harder time queuing. It takes longer. Do keep in mind that the updates that we're seeing now were made based upon information provided like 6 months ago. It does take them a while to put out the updates, get it approved by Sony, get it approved by Microsoft. So we do have to be relatively patient in the fact that we're not going to see instantaneous changes. Something that I seen in the chat that was constantly asked, was when are they going to fix the glitches in Tomb of the Nine Gods? The response was at first and then recorrected that, well, they've only had 7 reports of the dungeon chest glitching after the Ross Nisi fight. Okay, I can go back and I can show you one live stream that I did where I had the boss glitch out 4 times. So there's a lot more than 7 reports of that. But I have never once had a Perfect World dev in my stream, sadly. They should show up. Come on, we can show them what's going on, which leads to my next point, the fact that they don't really interact with their streamers. I mean, yes, you can go on the forums, you can leave your feedback there. The forums are toxic. Nobody has time for that. They need to work with their streamers, their content creators that are actually in-game every day, talking to the players and know what's going on. We see the issues, we see the bugs. Chances are we're going to find the bugs before the actual devs do. I mean, that's literally what they said. They said that the chest glitching in the Ross Nisi fight was not something that they were aware of until players actually ran into it. I don't see how that's something that they could literally miss. But that's just me. Oh yeah, it's the Xe. There are a few players that have spent a lot of real money on the game, or they've pretty much just done lock boxes, and they have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Tarmaloon trade bars sitting there. That is counted as potential AD. And if I had to bet money on it without actually seeing the code, which Perfect World will never show me, I guarantee you they will never tell me that. I cannot say for 100% certainty, but I would be willing to bet that is one of the main reasons as to why there has been no Double Diamonds event, at least on console, since the release of Mod 11. Vortex, prime example. Yes, you were in random queue, and 3 of the group got one-shotted. It's completely ridiculous. But back to my point on the whole trade bars in the double AD event. They should not let a very small percentage of the player base who may have all of these maxed resources dictate the results for the rest of the player base. There's many ways that they could do it. They could do a double AD event on the first X amount of rough astral diamonds you earn per day. They could do a double salvage event. They could do many different things. Another question that I seen was if they were going to increase the ability for players to refine more than 36,000 per day. Now, I don't think that'll ever happen, and that question got skipped over. I am fine with being able to refine 36,000 diamonds per day. What players fail to understand is if you can refine more than 36,000 diamonds per day, the only thing that's going to do is raise the price of every item more than it is now. If an item is worth 50,000 diamonds now, and you can then refine 50,000 diamonds in a day later, that item's only going to go up. It's now going to go up, instead of being 50,000, it's going to go up to, say, 60,000, 65,000. Because the actual value of your diamond goes down. The value of a diamond is not based on anything. It's literally like a Federal Reserve note. It's based on nothing. It's an empty promise. It's literally a worthless set of ones and zeros that is supposed to be equated to time spent in the game. But other than that, it's backed up by nothing. And that's another issue that random queue has, which you just seen right there. You'll get a queue, and then the queue will disappear because somebody declines it. That's another very annoying thing. So let's test our luck and see where we go right now. And I literally just got the worst thing that I possibly could get. I got Master Spellplague Caverns. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here before people back out. A 12.4 wizard. I'm sorry, you do not belong in MSP. I guarantee you he's going to get one-shotted real quick. A 10.9k Great Weapon Fighter. Oh god, that's even worse. Let's check our healer. 14.4k. Decent, should be able to do his job. 36k base power as a power share pally. That amount of power is low. This dungeon is going to be a major pain. And the tank, 12.4. Every single one suboptimal for this run, especially for one healer, one tank. Comparatively, I'll go ahead and show you my character for those of you who don't know. 17.2k wizard. You should not be an MSP unless you're 14k. That's my opinion, as a general rule. Unless, and there we go, we already lost one. At this point, dungeon is not even going to be completable. You've already lost one and it's an underleveled team. So what we have to do now is abandon instance, because you can't even call a vote to abandon instance. You haven't been in the dungeon long enough to call a vote to abandon instance. Completely ridiculous. This right here is why I do not random kill. So now, because of a inadequate team, because of a piss poor system, we have no chance at completing said dungeon, which means that I must leave the dungeon since we can't vote to abandon it. And now, if I want to queue for anything, I doubt it'll let me. No, it actually let me. Well, that's a first. Normally, if you abandon the instance, you'll get hit with a 30-minute queue penalty. But we'll try our luck one more time. Because it's actually letting me, so, you know, hey, props to that. Brutality, I completely agree with you. No, Neverwinter is not dead. It's just a matter of they're going in a very poor direction that could end up costing the game players. Blood, you're an exception to the rule. You already know what I say about the actual item level. It's a rough representation of what can be expected from a player. No, the Nick Flow Show, what I'm doing is I'm going over my opinion and the information based upon the Perfect World Entertainment stream, their state of the game. And I will be posting this to YouTube within 24 hours because that's the rules with Twitch. So this way, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in chat, and hopefully maybe somebody from Perfect World will actually look at it and address it in the future. Now, one thing that was mentioned, which is really cool, is that supposedly they're gonna try and work more with their streamers. Now, this is a direct comment for you, Perfect World, anybody to whom it may concern. We need a direct line to talk to you. This forums BS is exactly that. BS. Your content creators have been playing the game for years. We are in the field, boots on the ground. We see what's happening. We see the bugs. We see the glitches. We see what's going on with the player base. This post on the forums, maybe get a reply, maybe not get a reply. No, it doesn't work. We should have a phone number, or at the very least, a direct contact via email to say, hey, this is what's going on. But if you're going to do that, actually listen to your player base. They say they've gotten a lot of feedback and it was great and all of that. I don't see half of this feedback that I see being implemented into the game. And we have no way to check on it, which is very sad. And it's strange, the game is getting slowed down, yes. There's a lot of players that are aggravated with the game. Perfect World, in case you haven't noticed, look at the player base. I can go and look at my friends list and see who's online right now. When it loads, I have a decent number of people online right now, surprisingly, because it is midday, so, you know, there's a decent number of players on. But most of them are either mid-game-ish or brand new players. There's only a handful of endgame players left. Most of them are either on hiatus or have completely quit, stripped their characters, sold everything off. That is not good, Perfect World. Your game is nowhere without your endgame players. Just something for you to keep in mind. They are making the game more new player friendly. Great. I love helping out players. It's what I try and do. That's why I'm doing this stream. However, you need to give your endgame players something to actually do. Stop kicking them in the teeth. Bonding Runestone nerfs. The ability now, we can't use the Pocket Pet and Timora's Lucky Coin at the same time. Wow. 300 points to a random stat. So broken. We can't do that because people were using every single potion that stacked. Which really wasn't a big deal. But they nerfed that. They nerfed Bonding Runestones to make room for rank 14 enchantments and runestones and gear that's slightly better. At the end of the day, yes, we do get slightly stronger, but for a massive amount of work or real money spent to get slightly stronger. I see it. Most of the players see it. That's why a lot of the endgame players aren't here. Especially with the drop rate for Ultimate Enchanting Stones. You need 3 Ultimate Enchanting Stones to make a rank 14 enchantment. I can go ahead and show you. I did a refinement video on it for anyone who isn't aware of the way the refinement system works, because some of it is a little unexplained. But to make a rank 14, you need 3 Ultimate Enchanting Stones. Depending on your platform at the moment, these stones are going for around 800,000 to 1 million diamonds apiece. I have done a total of 58 runs of Tomb of the Nine Gods and only pulled 4 Ultimate Enchanting Stones. I know people that have done 50 runs and pulled 10, 12 Ultimate Enchanting Stones, and I know other people that have done 50 runs and only pulled 1 Ultimate Enchanting Stone. The drop rate is complete BS. You need to slow down on content release and make sure it's right and balanced first. This is another case of Von and Blood, another case of the Astorian Marks. It wasn't optimized at launch. Forcing players to wait an entire mod, 2 to 3 months, to then optimize it is not helping. It's just creating a further rift in the community. Flynn, no, I'm not pushing it with a phone number. That is a serious thing that people in business do. Yeah, Will's maybe 600k on PC. Let's go ahead and look at what the Ultimate Enchanting Stone is right now on console. This is the price on the Xbox One, which is a little bit cheaper, I do believe, than the price on PlayStation. Remember, it is a player-controlled market, so this pricing will change literally daily. Go to buyout. 825k for the cheapest. 3 at that price, then they jump to 840, 844... 850, 860, and probably by tonight most of those will be sold, and the ones at 900k will be up there. Alright, here we go again. Let's try for the second time what epic dungeon we're gonna get, which I've spent way too long on just trying to get into a epic dungeon. Fresh, when you have something that you like, do you simply let it sit there and do nothing about it? Or do you actually try to make the situation better to improve upon it? If you have something that you like, you try to make the situation better and improve on it, whether it's talking to a brick wall or not. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to answer questions and get you guys to actually post questions. Now, I've said my piece as far as what I think of their community stream, which was lacking. I will leave a link in the description to the actual Twitch channel, to Perfect World's Twitch channel. If you want to go back and watch the archived broadcast, you can. And then within 24 hours, this will be posted to my YouTube channel. So if anybody does have any questions that you would like me to try and address, and you would like Perfect World to hopefully see at one point in the future, feel free to go ahead and ask. Furious Mike, Grey Wolf Den is not necessarily bad, but it depends upon the team that you get. As you see, we've already had multiple people down, because if I went and looked, it's probably a lower geared group. Can it be done? Sure, it definitely can be done. This is better than going into FBI, or if this group went into MSP like the first queue that I had, it would have been damn near impossible to complete, as evidenced by the person that actually left. Fresh, that is a fair point. People have been complaining since the whole co-wards thing, which honestly was a slap in the face, especially for console. That is the problem with this world nowadays, though. There are no consequences for your actions, and people are afraid to say anything and would rather just have their head stuck in the sand. No. If something is not right, it is our job to stand up and call it out. If you want to stick your head in the sand, that is entirely up to you, personal preference, but that is not something that I will be doing. Yeah, the Nick Flo show, I would definitely say that it is proven that they don't seem to care. There's a prime example. Our teammates were way too far behind, so I'm going to have to respawn. This run is going to be a little bit rocky. You can only do so much unless your entire team is present. Finn, that is where, like I said earlier, players like myself come in. I try to make sure that I help out new players and answer any questions that they may have. Master 69, as far as how you want to play your DC, traditionally speaking, your DODC right now is also a DPS DC, so the Demogorgon set would work, but I would recommend only using the Demogorgon set once you have the stats to back it up. Furious Mike, the tank in this particular instance was not even there. More than likely, I'll inspect his character and see that he was probably trying to make a DPS Guardian Fighter, which is a whole nother subject. Whether or not you believe that DPS tanks should even be allowed in the game in the first place is irrelevant. If you are going to make a DPS tank, you should learn how to run your tank first as a tank, then worry about making a DPS tank. So obviously I don't have everybody in stream from the ARC stream, but seriously, if you have any questions, ask. This is your chance to have whatever question posted in a format that hopefully Perfect World will see. Whether they will do anything with it or not is an unknown factor, but hopefully they will at the very least see it, and it's not going to be taken down because it's not positive. Remember, we're not just sitting here complaining. We are literally trying to better the game that at least most of the people here enjoy, if not love. Blood, yes, very fair point. It is harder for support classes to do their dailies by themselves, so having a element of DPS would be very helpful. However, just keep in mind that when you make it so that a support is a better damage dealer than your damage dealing classes, it leaves the players that actually play DPS out in the cold. So it needs to be balanced, and that is something that's very difficult to do. Brutality, even though that doesn't technically apply to the game, why can't we just have both? Galaxy US patch notes every month. While that would be helpful, remember there are constantly micro fixes that are being implemented into the game pretty much with every maintenance that occurs, so basically every week. Could they post every single patch note like that? Yes, they could. It would make it easier for players like you and me who want to know exactly what's going on when, but most of those patch notes are literally just going to be clearing caches, very minor bug fix, graphical tweaks, mapping, things of that, normal maintenance to the server. Your major updates, fixes, patches, things of that nature are going to come out with every new mod and with every half mod, if they still do the half mods. And keep in mind, guys, the patch notes for PC are not going to be the same, especially the weekly maintenance ones, as console. There's 3 different platforms. Each platform is a completely different organism. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. Mr. Dragonflare, thank you for that refollow, man. Much appreciated. If you want, send me a whisper later on. I had to chat with you, Mr. Dragonflare. Which is another thing, like I mentioned earlier, I've never had a Perfect World community member dev in my channel, in any of my streams. I do stream late at night, so maybe that's why they couldn't make it. But over the course of 2 years that I've streamed their game, you would think once in a while they might be able to at least stop by. So, hopefully one of them sees the video and they can address the issues that are brought up. If you do have specific questions that you want me to try and ask directly, you can always send me a tell or post them on Discord, and I can try and relay them to Perfect World for what good that actually will do. It's the XE, yes. We have definitely addressed the fact that the random queue, at least the way that it is implemented into the game right now, is horrible. There is no excuse for it. Pokemaster, yes, this is my second attempt at the epic random queue. The first attempt put me in Master Spellplague Caverns. Somehow I was actually able to abandon the instance without getting hit with the Q penalty, thankfully. And my second time, it has put me in Grey Wolf Den with a somewhat okay group. Brutality, what about Tiamat? Honestly, I would really like to get the devs in. I'd like to see them in on the different streamers' channels. Maybe even if it was once a quarter, you know? Ah, excellent, Gray. I never ran into that issue, but yes, one of the other players did quit before me, so that's why it didn't give me the Q penalty. So I guess the trick is getting somebody else to be the scapegoat and quit before you. All right, we'll see how this goes. We are already at 11 minutes and 21 seconds, which is not bad for Grey Wolf Den. It all depends on if they know how to fight the Red Wolf. Rookie, excellent question. Why does no one play the PvP? No one plays the PvP in this game because it's imbalanced as fuck. There is literally no other way to describe it. Pardon my French, but it is broken. Below level 70, the PvP isn't really that bad. Once you get to level 70, though, the PvP is horrible. It's imbalanced. It's imbalanced based upon two things. One, you can queue in if you're not doing the solo queue by yourself with no one else, or say you're queuing with, like, you know, one friend, which means you can't do the solo queue. Then you are forced to fight a random team, which makes sense. However, that random team can be an entire pre-made. Well, that's just going to be horrible. That's the first imbalance. The second imbalance is with the fact that you can have a brand new player at, say, level 70, with around, let's just say, 6k item level. Brand new. And they just queued up for PvP because, well, they could. Versus a entire team of maxed out 17k, 18k players with all the right PvP enchantments, mounts, mount insignias, everything. Literally to the point that you can get triple capped and not even be able to get a kill. Not even getting credit for participating in the match because you don't earn enough points. Regardless of what class you're playing. That is why nobody plays the PvP. Now, in addition to that, they have one more problem. There's really no reward for PvP. There's a small amount of Astral Diamonds that you can get, and glory that you earn at a woefully inadequate rate, even with the glory booster. And that's it. There's no real, we must have this. I don't know why the tank is pulling this guy away. It's actually the pally. Okay, that's weird. Hopefully they'll get him to stand still this time. I'm just going to put that down so that when the wolf spawns, I can kill it a little quicker. I'm not sure why the cleric has aggro, though. Because that's not a good thing. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question a little bit as to why nobody does the PvP. I used to PvP a lot back in Mod 5, when PvP was fun and relatively balanced. Now it can still be fun if you get a good group, if you get a good match. I have more bad matches than good matches. Also remember, your build is completely different for PvP versus PvE. Alright, we got that done. So, there was a new player bonus. 14 minutes, 43 seconds. Not terrible, but not great for a Grey Wolf Den. Surprisingly, I almost had more damage. Actually, I did. I had more damage taken than the tank. That is not the way that's supposed to work. And from the chest, we received a piece of salvage and a green water archon. So that does show you that there are other items outside of salvage that you can receive from the dungeon chests, which is cool, except for the fact that because these other items are in the drop table on the dungeon chests, or in the dungeon chests, it's actually lowered the price on many items to the point where even if you do get one, they're worth almost nothing. Especially the items like artifacts that nobody really uses now because you can't use them as feeders. Well, let's check out the water archon. Yep, about 7,100 diamonds for a green water archon. Now, yes, the water archon is the worst of the archons, but still they used to go for a lot more than 7,100 diamonds before they were added as a item that you could get from the chest drop. Theosav, that is another thing. A lot of people don't farm because you're farming the same thing over and over again. There are basically 3 optimal dungeons to run in the game, and this is the thing that a lot of players don't understand, and it seems like Perfect World does not understand. Players will run whatever is the most efficient thing for them. If you do not have epic dungeon chest keys, or you do not have a strong team online, farming Shores of Torrent is your best option for salvage. If you have a decent team online and have epic dungeon chest keys, farming ETOS. Well, to veterans it's known as ETOS, but technically now it's Temple of the Spider Master, because it is the fastest dungeon for a guaranteed piece of purple salvage. If you have a very strong group online, Tomb of the Nine Gods, because you can get the ultimate enchanting stones, plus you pull more refinement items from the chests. Normally, every run I'll pull at least something like a flawless sapphire or black opal or blood ruby. That's what needs to be addressed. And they could address this entire system. They could address the issues that we've talked about with random queue. They could address the issues that we've talked about with lack of content in the game, or lack of perceived content in the game, because there's plenty of content in the game, and this whole problem with players being able to generate enough diamonds by doing one thing and one thing only: making challenge rated content. This is something I've talked about on stream many a times. This is something that I've talked about with Dragonwolf. I'm sure most of you actually have heard me talk about it. But making something where, sure, I can have Kessel's Retreat. It's a basic tier 1 dungeon. Then if you're strong enough, you can do the next challenge rating of it. And it's harder. It takes you longer. But the rewards are better. If they did that, you would not have a problem. So, hopefully one day we'll actually see something of that nature. Mr. Dragonflare, let me go back through chat. I didn't see anyone actually announce themselves. They could be lurking. Maya's Matt, I believe. Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you here. I was unaware that you were a dev. Thank you for taking the time to stop into the stream. As far as your question, would I rather play against imbalanced opponents or not play PvP at all? I would not play PvP at all. That is a easy decision because I'm not playing PvP at all now. And like I said, I was a huge PvPer back in Mod 5. I've been with this game since the first day that it launched on the Xbox One. Literally, first day. By running your players into groups that are completely outclassing them, it's discouraging players from even playing the game at all. Would I rather wait 10-15 minutes for a queue? Or just skip PvP entirely because it's worthless? I'll take skipping PvP entirely because it's worthless. And that's what's happening to most of the players. They're going where the rewards are. The rewards are not in PvP. If you had a gear lock item level bracket, just a suggestion, could be difficult to do. Yes, I know there's problems with everything. It would make the queue times longer. Players would try to take off certain pieces of gear so that their item level would be lower while maximizing the stats that they have. Yes, I realize it's problematic. This is just a brainstorm idea. If you go and whatever item level you are at, when you queue for PvP, your gear gets locked. And you are at that item level, and you're queued in a item level bracket, it would be not necessarily the perfect fight, because nothing in the online world is perfect, but it would be a closer matchup. Thereby, players would have a better fight, and maybe actually play PvP a little bit more often. I know we do have, or at least what I've been told a lot, and something I would like to see since I've been here since Mod 5, is actually an additional map. We've had the same couple maps since Mod 5. Not saying that takes priority, just saying that is one thing that is always told to me, that we would like to see more maps. Because even those players who have all of their PvP gear, they love PvP, they have their team that they only play with these 4 other players, that's it, they start to get sick and tired of seeing only the same 2 maps. Well, actually use your max item level ever 1 as your matching item level. I suppose you could sort of do that. I don't think that would actually work, though. I would say it would have to go off of the item level that you're at with your gear when you actually go over to the PvP queue and queue for it. And if you lock the player's gear at that point so they can't switch it, you won't have somebody take off all of their gear, queue for PvP naked at, say, 6k item level to fight other brand new PvP players. Because yes, you recognize that it's a downward spiral, and that's why I don't PvP anymore, because there's no reward for it, and it's imbalanced. Just one of the many things that's brought up to me, and has been brought up to me in the past. Again, thank you for joining the stream. You guys are always welcome. I don't normally stream at this hour. I normally stream between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. Eastern Time. So that is very late, but you guys are always welcome in stream. It would be nice to have you in stream at some point off and on, just to see what goes on in game. I'm on this game every single day. Every single day, 5 to 6 hours. Or more. And we don't really have any way outside of the forums to talk to you directly. I've seen the Tomb of the Nine Gods chest glitch. That is the number one thing that I've had reported to me that's aggravating players. I have multiple people on my friends list that are no longer playing the game for, quote, this exact reason. We have to grind our asses off to get the ultimate enchanting stones from Tomb. And then when we finally kill the boss in Tomb, Rosnisi, the dungeon chests don't appear. And you have to wipe and fight the boss again. Or, my personal favorite, if you get killed during Rosnisi's death animation and release, which sometimes it procs the you are dead and you have to release a second time, the dungeon chests appear, but you can't open them. It's quite an annoying bug. And that has forced many players to just give up. Okay, that's it. Fine, we're done. Now, do you need rank 14 enchantments and runestones to do any piece of content in the game? No. I know that. They know that. It's a question of we have the ability to get those. We want those. We were best in slot. We want to be best in slot. But now you've made this incredibly hard grind so glitchy that the rewards just aren't worth the time invested. And remember, guys, play nice. We do have, somebody from Perfect World here, or from Cryptic. Most of my people in chat every night, they're good. Just remember, we are getting aggravated with how things have been progressing. And I understand that adding a map is not the easiest thing. Between coding the map, putting it in, how are players going to interact with it? Are players going to get stuck on walls? All sorts of different things. You also have to remember that players are being forced to have two completely different builds because of the way stats work in PvE versus the way stats work in PvP. And PvP cannot be looked at through like a Call of Duty point of view either. Something that I know I've talked with Dragon Wolf or Draconis Lupus about. We have healers, we have tanks, we have support classes, we have DPS classes, and they all have to work together to win. This is not a situation where one player, no matter how good, no matter how geared, no matter how strong they are, can carry the entire team. So, I know PvP is a tricky thing to balance, but just having those brackets, I believe, would help. Having an additional map, and consider the rewards table for PvP. Doing those three things would bring players back to PvP. If you bring players back to PvP, you're going to bring more players back to the game. That is what I have determined by talking to players that are just coming into the game and talking to players that have left the game due to those reasons. Yes, that's what I was talking about with challenge rated content. Baltimore, I totally agree, and that's why I've been trying for over 2 years now to actually get a dev in stream. Hell, I would love to do a Q&A with one of the, not necessarily just community managers, but actual development team members. Who knows? As I've said before, I've said in email, in private messages on Twitch, on stream, I'm trying to help out as much as I can. This goes for the player base, and this goes for the developers. I like the game. I don't like the direction that it's headed, and I'm afraid that if it continues down that road, it's not going to have the desired effect. That's why I wish that Perfect World Cryptic would be a little bit more in contact, fluid with your content creators. I don't know if you heard me say earlier, but we're literally boots on the ground in the game all the time. I know you guys try and play the game, and it's impossible for one person to see everything. That's all. Just remember that you've got a good number of content creators here, so it's important to listen to them. Matt, as I've shown on stream, the two different Tomb of the Nine God bugs. Now, obviously, I don't see the code. Obviously, I don't work for you guys. You know that. I haven't even had the opportunity. But from what I have been able to surmise through trial and error, It seems to have to do with the amount of damage dealt to Ross Nisi while he's immune in the death animation. When you're actually hitting zeros on him, nothing but zeros on him, it seems like if you remain dealing heavy damage to him, especially tick damage, it'll glitch out and not count him as actually dying. Thereby, you have to wipe and restart the fight. Now, I'm not on PC, so I don't have ACT. I obviously don't have the same testing capabilities that you guys do. I can't see the code, but you can go back to my archive broadcast and you can see where the boss has glitched out. We've had to wipe, fight him again. Boss has glitched out. We've had it repeat multiple times. As far as not being able to loot the dungeon chests, that seems to pertain to when you have the malfunction where you have to release twice. If you get knocked off the platform or completely die in the death animation sequence for Ross Nisi and you release, sometimes you get a second release screen. Automatic, no option. I can't show you. I have it on my past broadcasts, but I don't have a group online right now for Tomb, so I couldn't go into the dungeon and try and duplicate that at the moment. But when you get that second release screen and you release the second time, it spawns you back at the beginning of the dungeon. Now you have to walk all your way back through the dungeon, and when you get back through the dungeon, the chests are there, but you can't open them. As far as what particular sequence of code that is that's causing that malfunction, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, I can't see that. But that has been what I have found through trial and error running the dungeon since Module 12B 58 times. And sorry if I'm missing any questions. I am trying to make sure I go through chat and see everything. But it does take a little bit of time, and I rather go into lengthy explanations. Oh yeah, Matt, I understand players love glitches. Some are amusing. Being able to get on top of the roof of a building, for instance, in Protector's Enclave, doesn't hurt the game. It doesn't hurt anyone. It's just, to use lack of a better terminology, shits and the giggles. But there can be game-breaking bugs. Yes, it's a completely different game, but to reference it like Call of Duty. Certain maps in Call of Duty, you can get outside the map to the point that you can't even take damage, but you can shoot the players that are still in the map. So yeah, I do understand. And that's what I try to explain to my viewers, is it takes time. It also takes players to try and find these things so that you guys can fix them and find out how it happened. Like another bug that I've seen was the first day that Mod 12B released on console, I was running Tomb of the Nine Gods with a friend who's a great weapon fighter. And his stats were bugging out, and he was actually losing stats from the companion, not gaining stats from the companion. Through trial and error, we determined it's something to do with the con artist being used on the great weapon fighter. That's why I was saying that we need a direct way to talk to you guys. We don't have the time to go on the forums. Not to mention there's a lot of trolls and a lot of negative people on the forums, unfortunately. But a PvP fix would be something that would bring a lot of players back, in my opinion. Mr. Dragonflare, you know, as long as I have the support online for a smooth run, I'll do my best to help you out with whatever dungeon, with anything in-game. Baltimore agreed. I don't mind farming the same 3 dungeons over and over again because I'm all about what's efficient. As long as I am making progress in the game, I'm okay. But I don't like just sitting there not being able to do anything. A matter of fact, we are going to queue for a couple dungeons here just to see if we can get something to run in the background instead of dealing with just sitting here in Protector's Enclave, because I can't stand just sitting here in Protector's Enclave. Yes, Matt. I currently do not play on PC. My rig is not capable of handling the game and streaming it at the same time, so the bugs that I just described to you are from the Xbox One standpoint. It's the only standpoint that I can currently test from. Gorth123, I have received a total of 4 Ultimate Enchanting Stones out of 58 runs of Tomb of the Nine Gods. I have friends that have done about the same number of runs and received anywhere from 1, only 1, all the way up to 12. So the RNG is completely all over the board. Master 69, yes, I'm still going to continue to play the game. I'm trying to make the game better. That's the whole point. There's no point in sitting on a game if you like the game and you see something wrong that can easily be corrected. Oh yeah, Matt, I understand there's a lot of us. There's a lot of individual players, there's a lot of streamers. That's why I said that if there was a way outside the forums, say a certain Discord channel, for instance, very easy way to message, voice chat, post clips from stream, even post the stream itself, and you could check in on it whenever somebody was available. I'm not saying that there needs to be a developer in every single person's stream all the time. Don't get me wrong on that. I'm simply trying to help out as best as I possibly can, because obviously you can't go to 100 different people and ask them individually. You just wouldn't have time to do that. So go to your top streamers and see what's going on. Let us get some of that information gathering, some of that footwork, since we're in the field all the time, done for you. Yeah, they did mention that brutality, that they've had multiple people trying to replicate the particular issue with Tomb of the Nine Gods in the chess. And that's perfectly fine. I understand. You know, developers, you guys have a lot of stuff on your plate, a lot of things to do in game, so that's why I say let those of us that are in the game every day do some of that work for you. Well, we're gonna wait here. I've got professions to do real quick. I can't because I have items in my overflow bag, which is really annoying. That's a side note. Would be nice to get a queue for something. But because of the diminished number of players as DPS, it's sometimes difficult to actually find a queue unless you have a group online to run with. Alright, now I can collect my profession items, finally. I don't know how long these things have been completed for that I didn't actually collect them. Lord Chaos, there's a few streamers that you wouldn't want as your voice. Sure, understandable. I'm sure people say that about me. Remember, these are just ideas. All we are trying to do is make the game better, and the only way to make the game better, I can sit here all day and say I have a problem with something. Saying you have a problem with something without actually having a suggestion for a solution is useless. Now, unfortunately, I've already done all of my dailies for today, so there really isn't much more for me to do. I think I do have one weekly that I can do, just so that I'm not sitting here in this wonderful Protector's Enclave. Ah, yes, I can. I can go do my Storm Giants weekly. Not exactly the most fun piece of content, but this is not one of my normal farming streams, so I'm not going to be sitting here farming for 6 or 7 hours. That's a very fair point. It's the XE. I haven't experienced it, but from what I've heard from other people, it's kind of turned me hesitant about making the time, taking the time, creating posts only to have them deleted just because they may not be positive towards the game. Lord Chaos, well, thank you for that, but I don't think there's specific representatives from each platform, even though that would be a nice feature to have. Matt, what is filling my bags these days? What is filling my bags these days are all the items that I actually have to hold on to, and certain things for other characters, and then salvage. I know it was said, oh yay, we got a queue. We got Malabog's Castle finally. Hell yes. I get to run something. I know it was said that there wasn't going to be a double AD event in the foreseeable future, but your definition of foreseeable future and my definition of foreseeable future are two completely different things. So I hold on to my most expensive salvage, and then I salvage everything else. As far as what's currently in my bags, I've got enchantments that I'm working on. Remember, due to the fact that loadouts, you cannot switch the enchantments on the same piece of gear for one loadout, from one loadout to the next loadout, I have 2 different sets of artifact weapons. I have a multitude of different mythic artifacts, depending upon what I'm doing. I have 3 different sets of artifact equipment, 1 set for PvP, 2 different sets for PvE. I have a couple pieces of old armor that is simply saved for transmutes, which is an idea that I had and I proposed on stream one time, is for either our guild halls, especially most of us, at least a lot of endgame players, have their own personal bank guilds that are used for nothing more than storage, but the ability to have a armor stand. Yes, you already have all kinds of different things, portraits, rugs, chandeliers, statues, but the ability to have a armor stand that you can put your old set of armor on and be able to show it off. I have my set of Frostburn armor that I'm not going to get rid of because of Venom Blood farming. I have my set of fully vivified Mana Seekers gear, which I'll have you know I got back during mod 10.5 when it was actually difficult to get. And I even did a guide on how to get the gear vivified. Anyways, that's besides the point. I spent way too much time and effort on this gear. I'm not going to get rid of it. I have all of my marks that you pretty much have to save. I have Gifts of Simril still from the Winter Festival because of the fact that it was almost impossible to find a group with the same number of gifts when you have 52 tunes and are willing to farm, which, remember, I am a hardcore farmer. So that's just a few things that are in my bag. I probably have one entire runic bag taken up with literally just gear pieces for my different loadouts. And I do apologize to my teammates. I was busy showing stuff in my inventory as opposed to actually running the dungeon. Which I will say, I prefer PvE, but I would PvP. I have 104,000 gamer score. I play more games than just Neverwinter, and I do play PvP or competitive game modes. I just don't like imbalanced ones and ones that there's no reward, so there's really no advantage, no incentive for me to play the game. Matt, do you really want us to send you ideas? Because I'm not saying you personally, but this is the general feeling from the community of players that I have talked to and had in stream and everything, and that's that the devs, as a general rule, you guys ignore us. Every update seems to go farther away from what most of us want to see in-game. And obviously you can't answer every single message. Obviously you can't put every single recommended feature into the game. That's not what I'm asking about. Matt, just as a heads up, AD syncs do nothing but piss off the players that farm their Astral Diamonds. Like, for example, the Trade House Cut. That does nothing but piss off players and encourage people to trade items as opposed to actually selling them on the auction house. A very simple way to get around the issues with Astral Diamonds is the issues with bots, especially on PC. PC has the highest Astral Diamond to Zen exchange rate because of bots, which you can't ever get rid of bots 100%. I discourage people from using them. I don't condone people using a bot or a macro, but you have to remember the only reason why people do it is for efficiency. If you remove the reward for using a bot, then people using a bot have no reason to use the bot. Just something to think about. And there's a lot of ways that it could be done, especially like your VIP system. This should be something that should be implemented, and soon. Look at this. I already told you I've been playing the game since day one, back in Mod 5. I had VIP 12 as soon as it was available in game. I still have VIP 12. I still have 645 days and 4 hours left of VIP 12. Expand VIP. Relatively easy system to do, and it would allow you to add a great variety of things to the game, plus potentially even bring in more money for Perfect World. Matt, I just literally said that. Like, I'm not trying to be uncooperative, per se. I'm just saying what is presented to me seems like a direction that is completely different than where the game has been going in respect to dungeons, in respect to farming currency, in respect to gear, in respect to achievements on the Xbox platform and the PlayStation platform. Well, trophies on the PlayStation platform. But relatively same thing.
You dead fool! I will take back my orb of dragon kind. And my dragon. Giants, slay these mortals!
Oh yeah, IR Staples, the Great Weapon Fighter stat bug being fixed, which is a bug. Obviously, it takes time for that to be diagnosed to which particular piece of code is causing the issue. Is it even a piece of code with the Great Weapon Fighter that is causing the issue, or is it a piece of code with another class, companion, power, etc. that's causing that particular issue? So I recognize the fact that it can't be instantly snap your fingers and fixed. And I wasn't saying that you were mad. I'm just... Well, the longer you hang out in stream, or the more often you're in stream, you'll know I can come across abrasive sometimes. As far as what I would like to see personally with VIP, remember this is just an idea. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it that way, but just an idea. I think VIP should be extended at least another 6 levels. Or another 6 levels added. A few things that would be nice to see with a increase to VIP, even if it is a increase up to another 12 levels, so up to VIP 24. Because VIP is a good system. It's a system that I can say is one of the very few things that I have not actually seen a complaint about. Which, as you know, people will normally complain about anything and everything. If it's in-game, somebody somewhere will complain about it. But a few things that I would like to see added is a few more epic dungeon chest keys, for starters. This is something that would not adversely affect the game's economy. A way to get... And this is a big issue. Obviously, it's a problem. It could cause a lot of problems, so I know it's not something that can be easily done. But this whole bound to account, bound to character, unbound system. Major pain in the royal rear end. I understand why the epic dungeon chest keys are bound to character when you receive them from your VIP. Because obviously players like myself with 52 tunes, I could get an unlimited number of epic dungeon chest keys if I could transfer them all over to one character. But my control wizard, I'll show you. I have the 3 keys that I got today. That's it. I'm buying keys. And I stream Wednesday nights through Sunday nights starting at about midnight Eastern Standard Time till 6 o'clock in the morning. Technically is when I'm supposed to get off, but most of the time I'm on longer than that. I easily go through 25, at least 25 epic dungeon chest keys a day. Easily. Both of my main characters, my paladin and my control wizard, do not have epic dungeon chest keys on them. I burn them all every single day. So an ability with VIP to gain a few extra epic dungeon chest keys, possibly even, say, 1 epic dungeon chest key per day that was bound to account instead, would be a nice little thing. Another thing, and this has been something that's actually been requested by multiple players that I've talked to, is considering a reduction on or complete removal of the trade house cut when you're listing items. It's annoying and irrelevant for 2 reasons. One, the trade house cut, yes, it's an AD sync because you're trying to give people something to spend their diamonds on. as opposed to just trading them for Zen and making more diamonds. But the issue is only low ticket items, as a general rule, are sold on the Astral Diamond trade house. High ticket items, rank 13s, 14s, expensive artifacts, masterwork sets, legendary mounts, things of that nature, they're traded. They're traded specifically to avoid that auction house cut. Well, I would have to see the math on how that helps bring down the cost or the exchange rate, having to buy more keys. Possibly, sure. For argument's sake, we'll play along with that. I got nada from that, but I did get the new player bonus, so not terrible. I don't see how having to buy more keys for salvage helps. But that's just one of the nature things. Draconis Lupus has some other things that we talked about that I would like to see, he would like to see, and several other players that I've discussed it with would like to see, hopefully at some point added to VIP. I obviously don't know exactly what you guys have planned, but like I said, Epic Dungeon Chest Keys was literally just one example of an item that could be added. Reduction on the trade house is another example on that cut that the trade house takes. There's been a bunch of stuff that we bounced around. One other thing that I got to thinking was campaigns. Campaigns are really annoying. Not for me. I don't mind them. They're not bad. Every campaign in the game can be completed in less than 35 days. But on certain classes, they're more of a pain in the royal rear end than others. Especially, say, on my Paladin. I can go in and show you, for instance, Cholt. I 100%ed Cholt as fast as I possibly could on my Control Wizard. But if I switch to my Paladin, I have nothing done on Cholt, because it's absolutely horrible running Cholt on a Pally. I'm literally waiting for a campaign buyout for that. So, potentially, just in theory, I know you have the campaign patronage token, which is not even available for Cholt in the first place. Very depressing on that note. But, if there was a method, even a slight reduction in cost of the campaign, or increase to the amount of currency earned by the quests in the campaign for, say, VIP 18 or something of that nature, would be another thing that would be worth it. I'd be willing to go back and forth and brainstorm ideas, just shooting out a few things that we've talked about. This is all that I've done in the Cholt campaign on my Pally, due to the fact that the boons are nothing to write home about, and it's just generally depressing, that campaign. Especially dealing with surprise attack. Whoever put surprise attack into the game and said, this'll be fun? No, that was not fun, guys. That was not fun at all. Matt, let me make sure I understand. When you say, from a developer standpoint, you want us to spend the diamonds so that they're not in the economy, so that we don't have them. Turning the diamonds into Zen does not apply with that, if I understand you correctly, right? Matt, no, the trade house cut, if you go to the Tarmaloon trade house, let's say I want to list this frozen, or this regular demon sled that I have VIP 12, the trade house cut is 10%. It's 10%, it's always 10%, always has been 10% since Mod 5. The only thing that's removed is the posting fee with VIP. Which you have a problem, not like you in particularly, but the game has a problem with undercutters on the auction house because people don't understand the mechanics behind the auction house, but that's a whole nother subject and discussion that I could go into about economics. Anyways, from that standpoint, no, it's always been a 10% cut. It's not reduced with any level of VIP that's currently in the game. I'm just running another random queue on my Pally since I switched to my Pally while I talk to you guys. Normally I would be looking for tomb runs, or I would be looking for people who want to farm spiders so that I can make as much money as possible, as many diamonds as possible, because I need to get certain things for these characters. Like a prime example is I'm trying to get a legendary mount for my Paladin. My Paladin does not have a legendary. I'll go ahead and show you my mounts. No legendaries whatsoever on my Pally. Never had a single one, and I'm trying to get the T-Rex for him. But they're about 6.5 million on average on the Xbox. It takes a very long time to grind out that amount of diamonds. Matt, the campaign patronage token does not help. It sort of helps for new players, but this is where I was saying at the beginning of my stream, and sorry I'm a little bit delayed. I wish I could just pull you into Discord chat and talk to you that way, but yeah, just bear with me. The campaign patronage only helps out new players, or players with an alternate character that they are just now creating, due to the fact that most of us, at least veteran players, we already have our alts made, and like I've ground out every single one of the campaigns in this game on both of my characters with the exception of Cholt. I refuse at this point to deal with Cholt. I'm waiting for a campaign buyout token simply because of time invested versus reward. The time invested in Cholt in an area that I hate, despise, wish was never added to the game. No. I'll farm 1,000 spiders before doing Cholt again on my Pally. Now, give me a campaign like Tyranny of Dragons? Sure. I'll go farm that one again. Give me a campaign like Dreadring? Sure. I'll go farm that one again. I'm talking investing in the amount of time that you do into a campaign and then getting something that you actually want to write home about. Like, damn, I got good boons from Dreadring. I got good boons from Tyranny. I got junk from River District. Pretty much junk from Cholt. It feels like you're trying to prevent a power creep scenario, but you have to add boons to the campaign, but you can't make the boons too strong. That's why I mentioned challenge rated content before. Yeah, Matt, I understand it's a tricky balance. That's why I'm saying make it through VIP to even where on a new campaign we have a slight reduction. It doesn't have to be much. Could be maybe 10%. Shave off a couple days, you know? Shave off a few hours of farming because, yes, I'm still going to play the game. As soon as I finish this, I will go to my game hub and show you the amount of time spent in-game, even though I've had the worst luck with dungeons, the worst luck with lockboxes, which is another thing. As far as lockboxes are concerned, post the drop chances. Please post the drop chances, because they are horrible, completely horrible. Out of the thousands of boxes that I've opened over the course of playing this game for 3 years, I've only ever pulled one legendary mount, and that was after you increase the drop rate on legendaries. So I am very, very salty with lockboxes. I don't even open my daily key from VIP. I literally sit there and save up the daily keys for about 6 months before I open boxes. That's a side note. But yeah, I would not be playing the game. I would not have played the game as much as I have played the game if I did not enjoy the game. And most of that time is not spent doing campaigns. For me, it's spent doing dungeons, or as I said before, back in Mod 5, it was spent in PvP. I also make builds for the 2 classes that I main. I have my build posted for my Paladin and my build posted for my Control Wizard, which are my 2 main classes. So yes, you cannot get rid of me that easily. To get rid of me, you would have to do one of 2 things. Either A, shut down the servers, or B, ban me. Timmy Wards is another thing that they could do, yes. Alright. Yeah, so exchanging the AD for items, exchanging it for Zen, that's what you're trying to take the AD out of the game. Basically, if I had to guess, I would say you're trying to take the AD out of the game, if I understand everything correctly, to keep the value of AD so that it doesn't turn into basically an FRN, something based upon nothing. However, I believe that would also be a tricky situation and also affect the exchange rate, which if you look at the exchange rate right now, I do believe that it's influenced by multiple things. I believe it's influenced by not only the amount of diamonds in the game, but it's also influenced by the amount of money being spent on the game to buy Zen, and then yet again by the amount of players that are actually doing something. And let's be honest, in your Zen market, there's not a whole lot of stuff that players want. VIP, yes, there's a few mounts, a few packs, a few things like that are good, and then there's some things that just have you shaking your head as to why it was ever introduced to the game. Prime example, let me see if I can find it again. Where is it? There's an active companion slot. There it is. This lovely little item right here. Active companion slot. I don't know if you can tell me or not, but have you actually had anybody ever buy that item? It is literally the most useless item in the Zen market. More people would be turning their diamonds into Zen, spending that for things like, here are the top things that I always see people get, and I encourage people to get. VIP, epic mounts. However, you've hurt yourselves with the epic mounts because of the drop rate of those epic mounts in dungeon chests and the drop rate of those epic mounts mainly in lockboxes. Now, there's epic mounts I can show you on the auction house for less than 60,000 diamonds. Yes, an epic mount on the Zen market is an account-wide unlock. However, when somebody can buy 12 of the same epic mount off of the Tarmaloon Trade House for the cost of 1 Zen market mount, unless they have more than 12 characters, it's not cost efficient for them to buy it off of the Zen market, thereby less people trading their diamonds in for Zen, thereby more diamonds just sitting there. Is God even real? I understand in order for me to find out the exact drop rate of an item, statistically speaking, I would have to talk to somebody probably at Perfect World. No offense to Matt, so don't take it the wrong way, but probably higher up than him, and actually sign an NDA agreement where I wouldn't reveal those drop chances that were revealed to me until Perfect World decided if they actually wanted to put those drop chances into the game. I'm saying that as far as lockboxes go, those drop chances I believe should be posted. Yes, but we all know that those are the chances in China. And we all know that it's not just a straight RNG system. It's an actively evolving, ever-changing RNG system. I've played the game long enough to pick up on the mechanics. Alright, so now this dungeon we did... This was a regular dungeon. Granted, I wasn't playing at, my best. But that took 11 minutes to do a regular dungeon in random queue. I used to be able in that same amount of time to do 2 dungeons and a skirmish. Definitely not happy with this random queue. Not being that it is the case where you are forced to do it if you want your bonus diamonds. And based upon what I've heard from Matt, I would surmise that another reason why that was implemented is to try and potentially slow down players. Let's see what I get for a skirmish. Come on, guys. Wish me luck. Let's hope it's a good one. Bone Grips, that's an excellent question, by the way. The chances for +5 rings. And now that we actually have Matt, the first time I've ever had anyone from Perfect World in stream, and we got the worst of the skirmishes possible. Oh, good God. Alright, well, wish me luck. We'll be in here for 15 minutes. +5 rings. Are +5 rings needed? No, they're not. You can do every single piece of content in this game without having +5 rings. Are they wanted? Hell yes. They are way too hard to get. +5 rings need to be reevaluated in their drop chance and determining how to get those rings. Could be something through VIP, could be something done through a quest, or simply a vendor, an NPC that allows you to trade in old +5 rings, maybe ones that you don't want, for +5 rings that you do want. Prime example, I farmed for 2 years. Farmed Demogorgon every day. Demogorgon and Epic Demogorgon, or now known as Master Demogorgon. It took me 2 years to pull a single +5 power ring. And now, that +5 power ring is garbage. Replaced by the Cholt rings. You've literally killed my will to even bother with +5 rings. Sure, Matt, the preview shard, that's good to know that it's identical to the live server. Unfortunately, for those of us players on console, we do not have access to a preview shard. Which, obviously, because of getting Microsoft and Sony's approval and all of that political nonsense, would almost be impossible to have a preview shard on console, which is why I would love the ability, if only once, and it would be hard to do, but if only once, you could actually copy your character through your linked Arc account from one platform to another platform. Of course, everything on the character would then become character bound, but this would allow people to play with their friends, console players to be able to test on the preview shard, things of that nature, without having to completely rebuild their accounts over again. For instance, I've played the game for 3 years. I do not want to play the game for 3 more years just to get to the point that I'm at on another platform, just so that I can see a preview shard. Yeah, Matt, I understand. I honestly have to say that whoever came up with the idea of obtain one of each of the +5 Slayer rings in Cholt and put that as an achievement, um, somebody needs slapped with a stack of pancakes, because that was the world's most retarded achievement. It's locked behind such an RNG wall, a ridiculous RNG wall that I'll have you know, most players don't like the hunts. The general consensus is the hunts are way too grindy, locked behind multiple RNG walls. We don't want to be there. A very simple way, in my opinion, to do it, to change it, would be allowing us to exchange +5 rings that we do get, that we don't want, for a +5 ring that we do want. That would be what I would do if I was in your situation. Just my opinion, obviously. Well, Matt, I'm not saying necessarily that it would be worth the work. I'm just saying that it would be a idea that I would like to see. Um, and of course, everybody wants cross-platform compatibility. I mean, I've got players in stream that I would love to be able to play with, but I can't because they're on PlayStation, or I can't because they're on PC. Now, obviously, getting Sony and Microsoft to actually play nice is going to be a problem, but it's just something that, well, you already know the community would love to see that. We'd love to see cross-platform compatibility. Now, it would play hell with the market, so that's why I said if there was cross-platform compatibility, or the ability to transfer your character through your ARC account, make it so that then what was on your character once it was transferred was bound. Yeah, that's a fair point. A lot of people would also pay to be able to transfer a character.
The wards are failing. Use the Fair's essence from fallen demons to repair them.
Gaming for Life, I wouldn't say Cholt is the worst thing, in my opinion, that happened. I would say Random Queue is the worst thing, in my opinion. Just because of the amount of time spent. Now, I would have to literally sit down and think of a few ways that players wouldn't mind. See, when a player works for something, to remove that from the game doesn't bode well with players. So nerfing and things of that nature should be something that's only done as an absolute worst case scenario. But as far as to take some diamonds out of the game, I believe one way to do that, this was something that I was kicking around, and could be done a couple different ways. Could be done with campaigns, could be done with enchantments, could be done with companions. Would depend on balancing, obviously, but say a sixth companion slot, but one that can only be purchased from the Wondrous Bazaar, not from the Zen Market. And obviously it wouldn't be an item, so it would be bound. Thereby you can strip diamonds out of the economy that way without players feeling like they lost them or had them taken away. I'll see if I can come up with some other ideas for you on that particular front. Is God even real? Most players don't go to Cholt. Most players don't go to Cholt for two reasons. The zone is extremely annoying. You have to rebalance your stats to be efficient in the zone. And the campaign really isn't worth it. So, thereby, most players avoid it. They get it done on one character, if that. Get the dungeon unlocked, which even a lot of people aren't unlocking the dungeon now, simply because of how glitchy it is currently. And that's just talking about the new glitches. That's not talking about the door glitch, where you get stuck inside the door and have to kill yourself so that you can be unstuck from the door. that's not talking about half a dozen glitches that I've seen in Tomb. I even seen the very first day a glitch where we went to fight Ross Nisi. You know, did the whole click to gather your group, teleport in, and our entire group got teleported to Chandler's farm. I bet nobody else has seen that glitch yet. Another thing that you could do through VIP and with diamonds, which would be something that players would like, because we do like our double diamonds, be able through VIP to refine, say, the first amount of rough AD, the first amount of rough AD generated for the day. Not refine it, sorry, my bad. But the first amount of rough AD generated per day, you would get double on. Small amount, you know. Maybe say the first 5k at, I don't know, VIP level 15. Just an idea. Doesn't necessarily have to be that percentage at that rank. Just an idea. Something that could be experimented with. Remember, as a general rule, players don't want to leave the game. They're leaving the game because it feels like they're not able to progress. What progression they make is either moderate and barely noticeable or taken away from them in a couple mods. And that's where I struggled to come up with solutions to eliminate that issue. It would help for developers to be playing the game actively, yes. I'm sure they do. But obviously, one person or persons cannot play the game as much as all of us combined. There's just not enough developers around. There's not enough of them as compared to as many players there are in the community. That's why I brought up earlier about maybe just at least checking in with content creators that stream the game frequently. Again, just an idea. Plus, as a player base, we do have to be patient. We can say we want to change. Perfect World can say, yes, that's a great idea. We're going to implement it. We probably won't see it for at least 1 to 2 modules due to the time that it takes to implement it into the game, code it into the game, get Microsoft's approval, get Sony's approval, release the update, so on and so forth. Alright, so for 12 minutes, I got 7,500 diamonds. That was not worth the time spent. I spent longer doing that than what I used to be able to do 2 dungeons and 2 skirmishes in. Let's see what we get with an epic queue. Hopefully it's a good dungeon. I got an insta queue only because I'm on my healer loadout. Vortex, my hat is off to you for being able to farm Cholt and being able to play your trade. My hat is off to you, man. Well, just an idea, Matt. It might be time to bring some more players in to the fold, into the Cryptic Perfect World team. Eat this, yeah, and everybody abandoned. So this isn't even going to get attempted because of the team comp. Great. I literally waste more time with random queue than I actually get to play. That's why I go to Protector's Enclave and I build a group. I build a group from Protector's Enclave and I queue the dungeon that I want and I run salvage. I have to run more salvage now because I can't just do 2 dungeons and 2 skirmishes. I actually have to run more content to make the amount of diamonds because random queue is not viable, which is sad. Very sad. So that is something that I do believe they need to look. I would not have released it. I don't see how random queue could possibly have been released in the state that it is. That's just from a player perspective, though. And that's entirely up to you guys. I mean, just because I like to get to end game doesn't mean that everybody is going to be wanting to get to end game. Yeah, Mr. Dragonflare, that's a common problem, is not everybody's on the same platform. So now I got, like, the easiest dungeon in the world. Well, it's easy because I have a 14-5 paladin. It would take me forever, but if I really needed to, I could probably solo it. Again, challenge-rated content. Would eliminate people, just being bored of the same piece of content, and would eliminate old content becoming trivial as characters get stronger. Oh, no problem, Matt. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Honestly, the best I was hoping for was that somebody from Perfect World would see the stream later in the archive broadcast or after I've uploaded it to YouTube. I wasn't actually expecting there to be a dev in stream. As in, over 2 years, I've never had anybody from Perfect World or Cryptic in stream. Baltimore, I agree. Random queue is a joke. Just not the funny kind. But that is a serious thing, a serious point. I know with the business and with the company, I say, yeah, let the streamers, let us do some of the work, Yeah, I know there's a limited amount that you can ask players to do without having them as employees. There are other forms also of compensation for players outside of paying them. You guys do a bunch of custom giveaway mounts. Events, which is a whole side note, and I know that's Julia's department, but I really do think there needs to be some more interaction and support for the streamers that have been streaming your game for a very long time. An excellent thing to reference would be the Terror Ambassador program. Completely different game, similar genre. Very good program. I like Apple's 01. Yeah, you don't take the same team into Shores that you take into MSP. You just don't. And it has nothing to do with item level, guys. Absolutely nothing to do with item level. You could make the minimum item level requirement 18k. Doesn't mean that every 18k player is going to know what they're doing and know how to play their class. There is absolutely no compensation for player skill. Gorth123. Okay. I'm sorry you don't enjoy the streams. I don't think I've done anything to offend you, at least on purpose. I never will be one of those pom-pom streamers bouncing all over the place. It's just not my cup of tea. I try to do my streams more based upon knowledge and trying to help people out than just antics, but that is to each his own. You're always welcome. If you want to hang out in stream, you can. Jashi, rewards for time played. Rewards for time played would be a excellent addition. There is somewhat sort of a system like that through the Arc app. It's based off of achievements that you earn, and those achievements are worth a certain amount of points for each achievement, and you can get a few different items. Potentially a quest, an in-game quest for a certain number of hours played, rewarding you with a handful of maybe more usable items, Preswards, refinement points, epic dungeon chest keys, things that players are actually going to use. Could be something that if I was in a development position, I would want to look at. Of course, the trick is balancing that without making it something that can be exploited and break the game. Alright, yeah, Mr. Dragonflare, I did try to message you on Discord to chat with you. It said that you had blocked me for some reason. You may want to just join my Discord server, join the main Discord server, and then I should be able to message you. For anyone who is interested, this is my Discord server. Everyone is welcome to join. You're welcome to chat. You're welcome to chat with me. You're welcome to ask questions. Like I said, let me know questions that you might have for Perfect World. I'll do my best to try and forward them. Oh, gotcha, Gorth. Oh, well, I'll have to work harder to be your #1 stream, okay? Deal? Let me know what I can improve on. I'm serious. I'm not joking. It's the Xe, fair point. Fair point, but a lot of players have gotten burnt out on the grind. Simply because it's not fun anymore. What's fun is advancing your character. Usually, for a lot of people. Not everybody. Matt, prime example, he said he enjoys more of the solo content. Okay, fine, to each his own. I want to make my character the best that it can possibly be so I can go through the dungeons as fast as I possibly can and do every piece of content in the game.
My Lord Lostmouth.
Yes, the payment is adequate.
Oh, Gorth, play on PC. You guys know I'm doing my best to get the parts for my PC. Once I have the parts for my new PC, I will be on PC as well. Will I rebuild my entire account? No, I can't do that, guys. It would take me years to rebuild my entire account on PC. But will I play it? Yes, I will play it. Oh, I'm serious, though. I will play on PC. I'm not joking about that. Unfortunately, though, I have all the work that I did to my account. Um, a lot of my friends are here on Xbox, and I would never totally give up everything that I've worked for. I only died because my sanctuary ran out. No, don't go into the lava. This is why I don't like running on my healer build for every dungeon. It works out, but sometimes when you get stunned, it's game over. Another thing, there's a really annoying bug, and I believe it even exists on PC. If a paladin or guardian fighter goes down with their shield up, they cannot use a scroll of life or scroll of mass life. Super annoying issue. Oh, I got my roll bonus as a healer. Let's see, how long did that take? 9 minutes and 19 seconds. Not terribly bad. Epic Dungeon Chest key, and we got junk. Anyways, it is almost 8 o'clock, and I am going to have to head out here very shortly. If anyone does have any other questions, comments, things like that, feel free to chat. The inflation on PC is higher, yes. At least in the economy. I believe that can be attributed mainly to bots. My opinion, at least. Pokemaster, I said an hour, yes. The plan was to do an hour-long stream. Then, well, Mike was nice enough, or not Mike, Matt. He was actually nice enough to come into stream and say hi. Try and answer a few questions, so I decided I would stay on the air as long as I possibly could. This is not one of my normal stream nights, Walking Anomaly. This is a Tuesday. I normally do not stream on Monday nights or Tuesday nights. Those are the 2 days that I have to work on videos, work on my channel, and things of that nature. So no, I will not be streaming again tonight at midnight unless something else happens to come up. I will be working on updating my Twitch channel and trying to finish up some emotes. The next guaranteed stream, late night stream, will be Wednesday night. Should be about midnight Eastern Standard Time. So depending on what time zone you're in, it will be either Wednesday still for you, or it will be Thursday morning. Well, remember, Walking Anomaly, I always do my best to try and make sure everybody can join and run as many dungeons as they possibly would like to. Sometimes it's hard to get all of you guys through dungeon runs, but I do try my best. So you've seen everything that I had to cover as far as state of the game is concerned. You're welcome to stay in chat. I do thank everyone for stopping by and remaining civil, even though some of the topics discussed can be, well, let's just say that players feel passionate about them one way or the other. Something else that I would like to see with the game is events updated. Right now, pretty much all of the events in the game are lackluster. They're outdated, basically. The rewards aren't really warranting the time spent. So revisiting events later on, obviously there's more pressing issues, but revisiting events somewhere later on down the road is something that I think would bring another batch of players back to the game. Just one little thing. Bots are not the sole problem. Hey, Valak, what's up, man? But bots do contribute to the problem on PC. Bots and macros definitely contribute to the inflation on PC, and the key is making them irrelevant. So, I don't think Matt is here currently. If he does come back or he does hear me, thank you, Matt, for hanging out with us, taking the time to try and answer some questions, at least. I would love to have the ability to do this more often, or at some point do a actual Q&A with you guys. Ideally run through Discord, if at all possible. So if that sounds like a good idea, feel free to join my Discord. Feel free to message me, email me, hang out in Twitch, whatever. I try to do my best to help out as well. And then I should definitely be back on Wednesday night. So any other questions that you guys might have, feel free to message me. I'll do my best to answer them. But remember, I do not work for Perfect World. I'm not sponsored by Perfect World. I'm not associated with Perfect World. I play their game. I like the game. I have fun with the game. One thing that I said I would show is my time played in-game. So I will show that. And remember, this is only time played in-game, and this is only on the Xbox One. Let me go over to stats here. And I don't think this updates quite accurately. But I have 258 days plus played in this game. Yeah. That's... Well, why am I playing this game for 258 days plus if I didn't enjoy the game? I think that speaks for itself. Rainover68, thank you for that follow, man. Much appreciated. Over the 3 years that the game has been out. 3 years the game's been out, or just over 3 years on the Xbox One, and I've been playing since day one. It does count time that you're spent in the game like this. I'm just sitting here on my mount. It does count time like that. But if you're AFK for more than 10 minutes, you get that message that pops up. And then after 15 minutes, you get disconnected from the server. It doesn't count time spent when the time is spent basically like just sitting at the shard loaded Neverwinter menu. That time is not counted. It's time spent in the game that's actually counted. But remember, I also have 52 characters. So I've spent a lot of time going through each one of the characters, going through campaigns, invoking, salvaging, all of things of that nature. I don't believe it counts time spent sitting at the character creation screen or the character select screen. However, I have never specifically tested that, as the Xbox Game Hub does not update immediately. It's not updated in real time. It seems to take up to, at least on that tracker, from what I've noticed, it seems to take up to about 36 hours to update. I can tell you, not necessarily every single day's average, but normally when I stream this game, on nights that I stream the game, I'm on for at least 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours. Hey, Black Magic, what's up, man? Joppy, welcome. I'm just ending my stream. It was a very impromptu thing, just a short breakdown on Perfect World stream for the state of the game. So I hope that I helped you guys out. We did have Matt join us. Some questions got answered. I still have more questions, and obviously some questions can't be answered unless I was to sign a NDA, which, well, not that I wouldn't do it, but I don't know if that will ever be a thing. Anyways, side note, moving on, you know. Ooh, squirrel comment. Black Magic, do I love my DC? I like my DC, but my DC's not my favorite character, no. My DC is my third in line character to be geared. I do have the DC sigil, I have some gear on my DC, but no, my DC is not one of my main characters. This is an annoying bug as well, I'm glad that it just popped up. Server unavailable at this time. Matt, if you are still here, this is a bug that's been happening since mod 12b released. Getting disconnected from the server, timed out from the server, and server unavailable has been happening more and more frequently to me on stream and off stream since the module 12b update. And I know it's been happening to other people, so there's definitely something wonky with coding. What's causing it? I have no idea. The server unavailable at this time usually happens to me when I'm changing characters for some reason. I'll get to change a few characters and then maybe run a dungeon or something, and I'll go to change characters again because I need to switch back to my pally or something, and I'll get that server unavailable at this time message. So just one last bug to throw on your plate. Redwind, if you missed the last 2 hours of my stream, within 24 hours, because of the whole Twitch partner thing, I will have this uploaded on my YouTube channel, but you can also watch the past broadcast. You can watch Perfect World's past broadcast if you want to see their state of the game stream. I did mine as a response to theirs and further discussing some of the points that were talked about in Perfect World's State of the Game stream. Sorry, Redwin, you're coming in at the end. I would have normally ended it already. It's just a short little impromptu thing, but I do appreciate everybody that's been hanging out with us. I'd love to be able to deal more with Perfect World, so if they ever need something and want to contact me, my door's always open. Same thing goes for you guys. You know, that pixel door button that says, you know, click here to watch, that's always open. You guys are free to chat, ask questions. I try to do my best to help players out as much as possible, and if we have an issue in the game, relay it with finding a workable solution to Perfect World. Hopefully they recognize that, and maybe from time to time we will see them around in-game. Or in-stream even. You never know. That's what I try to do, Redwind. What I try to do is I try to make sure that if I'm explaining something, I remove all questions instead of leaving more questions for the person when they're done with the video or when they're done with the stream. It's one of the reasons why I might miss some of your questions in chat. I do apologize if I miss any. I try to do my best to make sure that I get them all. But I usually like to do as detailed an explanation of whatever the topic is as possible. Unfortunately, a lot of things in the game are not explained. If they are explained, they're kind of just grazed over. It's glanced at or hinted at. That's why I try to do what I do to make it as easy as possible for people. I've been just getting this disconnect so much right now today. I probably actually won't play the game for the rest of the day, because this is getting almost unbearable. Just to even switch stuff around from character to character. It's the Xe, congrats! Almost 200 days played. Nicely done, dude. Alright, so you have my Discord channel. I'm going to post it one more time. Remember, guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, just hit me up and I will do my absolute best to try and help you out and answer those questions. Maybe in the future we will be able to get a member of the development team on a Q&A, which would be awesome. But that's the Discord channel. This is my YouTube channel. This is where I will upload this stream to after 24 hours. Remember, you can go to my past broadcast and watch it from the beginning if you want to, or I will go ahead and give you guys the link now so that if you want, you can watch the Perfect World stream as opposed to just my stream. This is going to be to Perfect World's Twitch channel. And then all you do is you go to their videos and you can see everything that was in the past broadcast. That's the link for Perfect World's channel. Again, thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you for remaining civil, even while we dealt with issues that were and can be heated, depending upon your standpoint and your view on the game. So overall, it was excellent. If something comes up and I'm not constantly timed out to this darn server, I may be on again tonight. I hope to see you all there. Otherwise, definitely Wednesday night, and maybe we'll get to do more with Perfect World. So, until then, my brothers and sisters, thy legion, stay frosty.